Evening! How is everybody? How are you doing? Good evening at Tottenham Away. Thought I'd come and say hello. Lovely background. Um, you probably get the theme by now that I like the water. It's calming and it's nice. That's kind of why I enjoy it. But good evening. What can we have a chat about? I'm sure you guys have seen the Ange interview. Hopefully you have. If not, it's on the Spurs channel. Go check it out. It was quite nice. It was quite kind of calming and soothing in a way. He seems to have this nice demeanour about him, right? That it's almost as if he would give you a little bit of belief. He would give you that little bit of motivation, and it looks like he can kind of gather the players. I guess the players that he's going to have, maybe some of the existing players that he has got, he's going to try and get them on board. It seems, I personally, like he sounded warming, he sounded comforting. It's kind of like, wow, that sounds like a blanket, but it's almost it's a little bit different to what we've had before, right? In terms of us having your Mourinho's before, who was quite, I'm the special one, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, it's me kind of thing. And obviously with Conte, he came with a high reputation. Now, not to say that this guy hasn't come with a high reputation, but he seems to have come with high expectations, if that makes sense. And I think the bottom line, look, we know, we went and got Mourinho, we went and got Conte, wasn't backed by our chairman. The fact that we've gone and got Ange now, I think that's the only thing that we can opt for, is purely that we hope that he gets backed, right? I think that's probably one of the main things. It's the backing. Doesn't matter who the manager is. We can like him, we can loathe him, we can pray for him, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't get backed, he doesn't get backed. That's kind of like the most important thing. But from listening to him, seeing his demeanour, he seems like a nice enough, warm chap. Actually reminds me of Martin Jol a little bit. Obviously, I still think, he can be stern when he wants to, by the looks of him. And hopefully he'll get a nice vibe around the place. I think one of the things in some of the questions he was asked, some of the things that he came out with, I think one of them effectively was, I don't mind losing, but it wasn't I don't mind losing, it was almost that, but my team have to play football the right way. And he continued that by saying, but the winning will come out of that. And I think that's fair, and that's what we want that's kind of what we want, right? As Spurs fans, we want to see a bit of attacking football, we want to see flair football, we want to enjoy the football that we go and see, or we watch on TV around the world. It's interesting. I think one of the questions that he also answered was literally, you won't fall asleep. Oh no, there were some overseas fans who called in, right? Or kind of it was a video question. Called in saying we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, to watch Spurs. And one of his responses was, "You're not going to fall asleep watching this Tottenham team." And that excites me. I know. No one's getting carried away. It all goes back to the backing, and will he get backed, and should he get backed, and how much he gets backed. And I said the other day in one of my videos, I think it's not about backing him financially by getting the players in, it's also backing him by getting rid of some of the dross that we've got there. If he feels players are not good enough, then do you know what? Those players are not good enough, and they kind of should be out the door. Hopefully it's not too noisy, because I've got a road just behind me there. But we'll see. Hopefully it's not. But I kind of quite like the scene, because it looked quite nice in the background. So I thought I'd kind of stand here and kind of make some noise and talk to you about Tottenham. Ange's interview, what else was there in that interview? I think, as I was saying, I think he kind of gives me that Martin Jol vibe a little bit, in terms of he seems quite softly spoken, he seems quite sure of himself, I would say, quietly confident, and he has, he has worked his socks off to get to a club like Tottenham Hotspurs, you could say, and it's his opportunity, and he doesn't look like somebody who's going to let that opportunity go to waste. Now, we all know that kind of like what we all know Daniel Levy, and we all know how he operates, and we all hope that he's going to change this time. Probably not going to change this time, but it's always a but, isn't it? It's we hope, and I think kind of like that's the kind of carrot that he holds us with, right? Every couple of seasons, or like at this rate, every season there's a new manager, and there's a nice little carrot dangled in front of our faces, just to say, here's something else that will buy me a little bit more time. But who knows? We've got to ride it out. As Stel said, I think Iggy said, a lot of us have said so far when we've been on the pods, we'll wait and see what happens. Let's get to the end of this window. We can then assess and make some judgments then. At the end of the day, by then he still would not have played a game of football. Actually, by then he kind of like would have started. But he needs a good run of games behind him. He needs a good team behind him. He needs to build that kind of ethos. And I think that's one of the things that I've kind of said for next season. My expectation is not to win a cup, would be nice. My expectation is not to finish in the top 4. Finishing in the top 6 would be a push. But that's probably the aim, right? That's probably the North Star, that's probably the goal. But ideally, I think what I want to see is the foundations that he puts down, just to make sure that there is a style of football there. We can see a blueprint. We can see something happening. And I think that will be good enough for next season. For me, anyway. It's a start, right? Like small steps and all of that. So ideally, by the time we go away, I think we go away to Australia probably a couple of weeks now, or kind of back in the next week maybe even. We want to see if we can get at least one of those centre backs in. It seems that VDV, I'll say, VDV, he could be kind of close. Hopefully we can get him tied up before we go away. Obviously the Solomon deal took a twist, but he's obviously not had his medical yet. It was planned for this week, but I believe it's planned for next week now. But let's kind of see what happens there. Obviously Shakhtar Donetsk, there's some financial loss or compensation or something like that they want, and like kind of like while he's on a free, obviously the way he's ended up leaving the club, etc., and what's happening in that country, there's obviously a bit of turmoil there. I'm sure some agreement will happen. Obviously we're holding a game against Shakhtar Donetsk, with some of the proceeds going off to Ukraine, so I'm sure something will be done and dusted, right? Change news really. I think obviously we've heard news about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg looking or not looking for a move, but it's touted a move about going to Atletico. Fair play, good luck. I think with this fast-paced style that Ange kind of like wants to bring along, who knows? I'm not sure if it'll suit Højbjerg. We probably need speedy folks who can kind of like get around a bit. I think last season, as much as he virtually played every single game, right? And like again, flogged him like a like a bloody horse. I think one of the things with him is that you can see people go past him too easy. Little 1-2 straight past him. People drag the ball and run around him quite easily, like anyone with a little bit of pace. So I kind of think, well, do you know what? If whatever money we get, be it 25, 30 million, take it, get rid of him. Let's get a little bit of freshness in that team, a bit of energy, a bit of kind of like, in not to say he wasn't enthusiastic, but we want that little vibrance going on. Kane, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of bored about Kane now. And it's like only the 4th, 5th of like January, so we've got a long way to go. Tapping up all of this palaver. It goes on. But yeah, let's see what happens with that, and hopefully we can come back to it with at some point a little bit more positive, and let's see how it goes, right? But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the scenery. if anyone can guess the correct place where I am, and if you're a member, I'll give you a little prize. We'll see what it is, kind of like once we get back down the lane, and the Spurs shop opens. Because it's you, I will kind of go in there and spend some cash and kind of like get you guys something. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of Angie's interview. Kind of like most importantly, that's kind of like what I'm interested in. Thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you've hit the like button. If you haven't, then take a second, go and hit it. And thank you for all the comments. I had a whole load of comments from Rob, Ayres, Nita, Declan, like a good few guys. There's some really positive comments on there, so big up to you guys. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll say come on you Spurs.